Whoever thought here now would be side by side. Making music burning nice and side by side. Collaborating on the project is a case side. Celebrating, realizing what a true calling. We visualizing the type of future we wanna have. We feel forces, face fears for the bottom. We take chances, might fail, no problem. I feel it in my veins, and my days about to come. Look into my eyes, tell me what you see. I'm ready for detonation, suicide bomb. Hold on to your lady, cause I'm sneaking with the game. Give her the eyes and she will never be the same. The same greatness, future generation.
Great. Okay. Hello everyone, welcome to Beyond the Black Tag. It has been an amazing season thus far. We are coming to the close of season 3 and we are super excited, myself and my co-host Mau Mchobile, to be able to give us the ending of a season and trying to figure out how are we going to move forward in the season of Beyond the Black Tag. Mau, what are your thoughts?
Man, it's been a crazy one, you know. I mean, I'm remembering when we started this season, our objective was to do something different from the first season. Again, I mean, we have been trying to learn as we're going through this project what looks good, what doesn't look as good with the equipment that we have. That being the caveat all the time is, you know, working with what you have. And then being in one place, doing guests live, that's just been a treat. And the funny thing about this season was the fact that all the episodes were shot over a singular weekend, you know, and that was pretty cool and quite intense for us. We're going to get into that as well. We're going to get into maybe just how that happened. But yeah, it's been a treat, quite fun. And I think it also freed up a lot of time for us because that's something that we struggled with in the first season, having to like meet consistently every week. Whereas this time around, even though it was an intense weekend, but we were able to you know, get it done and then free up our time going forward. So that was quite a treat. Yeah, and I also wanted us to reflect on some of the episodes that we did this season. Like a lot of them were pretty cool. And the ones we're mentioning, it's not necessarily that they were the best, but it's just maybe some of the things that stood out, some of the comments we received. For example, Samu's episode, I always get comments of just how good it was and how articulate she is, and just people could connect to her story, you know, of being faithful, letting the missionaries in, or you know, seeing them and really feeling like you're ready for change in your life, and God kind of orchestrating the right people in your life at that time. So for example, that was a really, really good one as well. But are there other episodes that really like stood out to you in the season?
Oh, I'm still on like Samu's one, where something that she said, she ended up speaking in the third person, where she was like, I don't know, I forgot if she was talking about herself or whatever, but it was like kind of we need to view Samu the returned missionary different from Samu the missionary, because Samu the returned missionary needs you more than Samu the missionary. Samu the returned missionary is struggling and having a good time and trying to figure out life, you know, help Samu the returned missionary, because that person needs help. I think that another one that really stood out to me was Tandaza's one. And one reason why it stood out to me is because it was just one side of the story. And now something I've spoken to Mau about is how we are not a news broadcast. You know, we're not here to tell people a story and say that this is the truth and this is not the truth, and you know, we're not judges of Israel in any way, shape, or form. Anything that was said on Tandaza's side was what she was able to bring out and share in whichever scope that she decided to bring it out in. So we do not know any full stories to that, but everything that she shared, there is a lot of truth in that, where we could learn from how can we deal with a tough situation. Every returned missionary is going to deal with some kind of situation, whether it is a divorce like that, or a separation, or it is just failing class, or struggling to be consistent in your habits that you really want to do, going to gym, eating well, etc. It's just there's so many things that we can take from that where we can really just try and change our mindset and understand that crap is gonna happen. We need to learn how to deal with crap, you know?
Yeah.
So that was a really good one for me.
Honestly, man, it was very different as well, you know, just raw. And again, it always taps into why we started the podcast, you know, raw, unfiltered conversations to say, this is my life, you know, love it, hate it, this is it. And you find a lot of times that most people can resonate with the real thing, you know, most people can resonate to say, you know, I get where you're coming from because I'm going through something similar. So I love that too. Another episode I really loved was John's episode. It was so funny because after that, after we learned about just the different ways in people get revelation. For example, with him, he gets revelation through dreams, you know, so you get to think about that. But something that really stood out for us was the health side when he spoke about like taking care of your body, making sure you check what you eat. Because after that episode, I remember when he left, we sat there as the team, like in a circle, and we were just like putting our hands on our heads, just like thinking, oh my goodness, we gotta change our lives. And you know, we just had a whole deep dive. Yeah. We just had a reflective so yeah, man, so I think this season really has been really good, and I'm hoping you guys are able to go through the episodes. If you haven't seen any of or some of them, please take time to you know, watch an episode maybe once a week or so. They're really good. There's really powerful insights that some of the people have there, and we know that you guys will love that as well. All right.
Add how it was just like the entire weekend itself being brand new to us. It was something that we tried. This is the first time any one of us is running a podcast, and the first season was completely on Zoom. We were like, we don't want to do Zoom anymore. We don't want to be here anymore. We don't want to do this anymore. But it's unfortunate that we still have to do it, and that's gonna come on. We're gonna talk about that update a little bit now, but just that whole weekend was amazing, and a lot of miracles came out of it just beforehand. There was a lot of mistakes that also happened. Like, we lost one person that we really wanted to get onto the show. Some people that we wanted to get onto the show previously couldn't due to change of schedules and their own life happening, etc. It's not the most perfect thing. So if you want to start a podcast of your own, do it, because we had no clue what we were doing in the beginning. We're just figuring it out. We were sitting nicely with over 200 subscribers. We're loving it. We want more people. Please invite people. You know, we're going to tag at the end, but you know, just continue with the love that we've had, because we're just trying something new and trying to help however we can.
Absolutely. And so please continue showing the love. Actually, we appreciate that. Every now and again, we'll have somebody come up to either myself or to Jeremy, say, you know, I love your podcast. And that's really nice to hear, you know, because especially when you're wondering, you know, is what we're trying to do, is it catching, or is it as effective as we hope it to be? And every now and again you get somebody to come in and reassure that no, it's actually working. So continue doing it. So yeah, so thank you for that, guys. Thank you for the love you've shown thus far, and please continue, as Jeremy said, continue to do so. All right, sir. Let's talk about some of the updates that have happened since our shoot. A lot has changed. One of them is the fact that we are 8 hours away from each other right now. We are in different time zones. So for me right now, it is 7 a.m. and for you, it is 11 p.m. the previous day.
Correct. That is wild. So I am officially in the United States. I am in the state of Idaho, studying at BYU Idaho, and it's a beautiful place. That weekend we shot this thing in August. One of the weekends of August. By the beginning of September, I had made my way to BYU Idaho. to start in what they call the fall semester. And ever since I've been here, since September, middle of September, started the semester, and I guess it's been September. It's been about going on 8-9 months of being here already. I think around more 8 months of being in the United States, and it's completely different. I'll tell you, all of what the missionaries said to us on mission, like, oh yeah, you're gonna love this, you're gonna see this, you're gonna go through this. True. It is so different from Africa. I understand when they say it's a first world country and what it brings and stuff like that. But anyways, so I've been here in BY Idaho trying to pursue my education. And it's been a very huge blessing getting here in the first place. With the love and support of friends and family that I've been able to speak to through the journey and things like that. I'm super grateful for it. And ever since I got here and really got into the program, both in the school and extramurals, I'm still singing as much as possible. I sing in the devotionals at school. We've sung for Elder Bed now, which has been amazing. I've been in an a cappella group, and they've been so awesome. If you've seen some of my posts on Instagram, you've seen like some of the stuff that we've done. Amazing. And one of the craziest things that I've done so far is getting engaged. I'm engaged to a beautiful lady that's here. I met her in October of last year, and that's crazy on its own. Something that I feared was moving too quickly, so I took my time. I didn't want to move so quickly, but it still ended up doing that because of how myself and her, we dated. You know, there's really this huge amazing culture of dating that they have, and it's a good and healthy culture that I love. That if you just you can go on a date with someone and not expect anything serious to happen until you go on 2, 3, 4 dates, and then you start to really talk about, do we want to pursue this? Then when you talk about pursuing it, you're then working towards something. You've set a goal. You don't have to date or be in a relationship to get married the next day, but you can date and look for, is this the person who I would like to do that with, and ask the right questions. And it's just amazing dating sphere. And we went through some beautiful like trials and tribulations to help us to make that decision. And so I don't regret any part of it. I love where I'm going. I love where it's at. There's a lot of trials that are looking forward to me, but I'm just loving every bit of taking every single one on. I've been very headstrong and very stubborn with all the decisions I make, and I'm still very stubborn with this one, So this is some of the things I got, man.
You are reminding me, so last night my wife and I were reflecting on our marriage, and we realized just how quickly things changed. Actually, she was saying when she was dating me, it was like a roller coaster, because beforehand she had been praying about me. I feel like she kind of felt I was coming. So she had prayed about me, and I think she was ready to date. She said she was ready to date. But then when I did eventually come, and start dating her, it was such a roller coaster. It was because I was very headstrong. I knew what I wanted exactly. There was no beating around the bush. She kind of wanted to take things slow, date for a couple of years, just do cute things, go. And I was not about that. I was like, we're starting life with, and so anyway, so when we were reflecting, she was just saying everything happened so quickly, and it was such a rush of decisions and things that needed to happen. It was definitely more than I prayed for. And so anyways, that conversation has come back to my mind now as you're speaking, because I'm seeing September, you land in the US, and 8 months later all this has happened. You've enrolled in school, you've started working, you're engaged to be married, and so I do want to touch on all of those things, but I'm just seeing also just like life rapidly moving along, and that's pretty cool to see. you mentioned, for example, some of the wonders that you experienced when you first came that side. You experienced your first white Christmas. Please touch on that as well. But also, just maybe what have been some of your biggest impressions, briefly, on being that side that that have opened your eyes, to maybe what you would not have, what somebody this side who hasn't been there would not necessarily think about.
Right. Awesome question. I think, so yeah, the White Christmas, like, and when I say White Christmas, I don't mean the people. I mean snow. Back down in South Africa, December, Kidizemba. It's summer. It's hot. It's booming. It's bro. It's amazing. This side of the world, in the northern hemisphere, it's winter. It's cold. It's snowing. You gotta get out your fluffy socks, get out the blankets, your beanies, everything, because it's cold. Now, I suffered as a black boy from Southern Africa. I don't know this cold. It's nuts. It is so cold. Everyone is excited for the snow, especially like if you've never seen it before. You're like, oh, snow is a beautiful. You only see this on TV. Oh yeah, nice. That's the first day. Second day, you're like, why are you still here? Can we get this over and done? Can we wrap it up? I'm trying to go and enjoy myself. So we're going into spring right now, and it's getting so much warmer. I love it. It's just, yeah, breath of fresh air without the snow. I can deal without it. Now we'll see it again later. And like, I guess to go to your other question, and I have been thinking about this. First of all, I want to be honest about the fact that everybody glorifies and glamorizes the United States of America, right? Oh, it's a first world country. Oh, it must be nice to be there. The dollar is so strong. All of these nice things, beautiful things. It still has its own problems, It's like a family, You can look at this family. This family looks like they're doing so well. But when you go to their house and enjoy the time with them, you'll see that in that family, they have problems and they have different family dynamics, but they're just trying to make it work the best that they can. They have the same purpose. They're trying to achieve the same things or certain things, but they just have their own set of problems. The same as South Africa, their own family. We're trying to achieve something, but we all have our own set of problems. And because we're living in South Africa, we know the problems, we see the problems, we're living the problems. Some of us are the problems, etc. So they all have their own set of problems. So I don't want to make whatever I say seem like everybody needs to move to America like tomorrow, because I still stand on what the president of the church has said in the past of lift where you stand. We do need to make South Africa great.
Again.
Whatever way, I don't want to say again because I don't know when it was great the first time, yabo. I need to go to the historians and figure that one out. One of the perspectives I've been taking is when I get here, I'm learning some stuff here that what could South Africa do with this information? What could we do if we had this and things like that? I'll tell you this from a student who wants to figure out and find work. When people are doing LinkedIn seminars, resume or CV seminars, and teaching you how to do those things, that works here. LinkedIn is being used wire on this side. It's just they're true to their word. They're hiring, they're posting. They want you to look professional and they want to hire you. You can be hired in the US from South Africa and just try and make your way here. That's a possibility. It might be very hard to find it or whatever, but it's a possibility. But you have to take that part seriously. You have to do what they're telling you to do. You have to show them information they want you to show. It is so possible. I came onto campus, and the first thing I did, because I'm an F1 student visa, I'm on an F1 student visa. The first thing I did, I'm like, what does that mean? What can I do? What can I not do? I went to the International Services Department, which is where I currently work as well, and was like, hey, give me all the information I need to know for what I can do in my school career and what I can do after. They told me about all the opportunities. They gave me a brief summary because I was still in the beginning. But they told me of the opportunities that are there, of getting an internship during my school career, of being able to find work after school through a program that the school offers, that all schools offer for international students, and what you need to do during school to be able to get scholarships and etc. The world is your oyster. In a genuine form, in the US, the world is your oyster. We don't feel that in South Africa, but I still believe that's the case in South Africa too. It's just easier to see when you're here, even for an international student, though that you're limited, you can figure it out, So there's a lot of opportunities to grow, to figure out, to become. There's just people. Networking is a real thing. Go network. They tell us, go network, go speak to people, go find people, and you'll get a better chance of finding a job that will suit you or finding a job that will pay well based on these things. It's a world on its own. And everything you see in high schools, or everything you see in movies about high schools, about things that they do, true. It's real. Their high schools are big. For the High School Musical fans, the school that they use for High School Musical, I think it's called East High. That's in Utah.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Really? It's in Utah.
That's so cool.
We drove past it like when I first came here. It's in Utah. It's there. You can go and visit it and see the school. It's weird that these things exist and they're true and stuff. And it's a normal high school that people use. It's not like they built the set purely just for High School Musical. No. That's an actual high school. They just, used it, and now people still go there, and now it's very expensive to go there because of the fame that it has. It's crazy. I'm just like blown away every day when I'm like, I just see something so familiar,
Yeah. Man, that's... You're having experiences some of us also are looking forward to. I know a lot of people are looking forward to different experiences. I always say about my mission, the reason it was so special, aside from the spiritual element, was the opening of my eyes to the world, to say that there's more than what you are used to in your small city, in your small town. There's more, and that's what mission afforded me. And I think even in the same sense, you are being afforded just a broader sense of life by being exposed to more. So I think that's pretty special, and I'm hoping some of our viewers, if you have desires, especially if you're coming up from youth or in YSA and you're just trying to make life decisions, do explore the world, do explore opportunities out there. It's great, And then you also touched on being engaged. We cannot skip over that. That's the most important thing of our conversation. How did you know she was the one? I don't know if you want me to mention her name. But how did you know that she was the one for you? Just how did both of you guys come to that decision to say, okay, we've met in October, but right now we know that we're getting sealed to each other for time and all eternity.
Yeah. So, if anyone wants any more information about like who she is and when we're gonna get married and all those things, all those dates, you can find some of that on my social media if you want. I'm public. I'm not gonna say it here. You can go and find it there. If I slip and say her name, forgive me, for I know not what I'm doing. But that information is out there. It's not. I'm not really hiding it. But to answer you, we've talked about it a lot, and the one thing that we come to the conclusion of is we've dated a lot of people in the past. And through dating a lot of people, we've kind of figured out, we've not figured out entirely, but kind of learned that I don't want these things in my partner, but I also want these things in my partner. So when we met, and the way we met was insane. It's just like almost a little High School Musical story, because I started a cappella. I was in the only men's group. She was in the only girls group. and I knew she existed because we sang a duet together in one of our shows. And then I just sat in front of her at a McDonald's and started talking to her, got her phone number, and we started talking, and literally the rest is history from then. We just started chatting. What I know and what I love is how she's very talkative and very loud. She's like me. She is very gentle. She's very introverted. It's kind of funny because as much as when she gets comfortable with you, she can talk and she can get loud. But if she doesn't know you and anyone in the room, talk, nothing, quiet, gone. It's so funny. And she just feels very familiar, in my opinion. And as well as the one thing I've said, and I've said this to everyone, there's a bunch of my friends can testify. I've been saying, Uguti, my wife needs to be able to sing. If she can't sing, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be bored. That's just the one thing that I always said. And she can sing. And she can sing very well. And we sing together. We've had a couple of road trips since being here. And we've just sang together in the car. We've shared music. I've shared with her music that I love. She shared music she loves. So she's aware of some South African music, although she doesn't remember it half the time, but she's heard it. I promise you, she's going through the initiation. It's beautiful. I think it's just amazing. And also just getting to meet her family makes it easier to get to know a person, because then you see them in their comfort zone, see them in their comfortable space. You can't really run away you can't really be fake from that. So we've kind of been very raw with each other from the get-go, but as the time passes, we still unravel that. And so we've just been, to say that she's the one, we've also understood that there's no one person that we can date and marry. There's a lot of people that you could end up being with. We just have to make a choice. And through all these variables that I've shared with you, I'm not disappointed in my choice. I'm very happy with my choice. I'm very happy with the person that she is, and I'm excited for the person that she can become. So I really went with choose your love and love your choice. And that's just what I'm going to do every single day, is love my choice. Especially when it's harder to love the person, that's when I need to love them the most. Similar to Mission, So I think we've just got a combined amount of information and knowledge that we just put together every time, and we can have really beautiful conversations. I'm never bored with that child. I say that child very loosely. My fiance. I say it's just
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. I think obviously wish you guys prosperity in that. It's gonna be great. Marriage is an adventure. It's you guys are going on an excursion of life. You don't know what you're gonna find. You don't know what James you're gonna find, and we're just going through it together. And I loved that you had these unconventional things that were a must have for you, i.e., she must be musically inclined. And you get exactly that. She's a faithful covenant keeper. You get exactly that. So I just think it's gonna be beautiful, and looking forward to even seeing on social media the big day and just the celebrations that come along with that. Okay, I think we're ready to jump to the next part.
Dude, you need to tell me about you. Hold up. What's happened with you in the last couple months?
Man, do I even know? Sometimes you feel like life is rushing along so much, and you can't really tell. I think aside from work just being work, I think the bigger parts were having my wife's family over. That was quite special. They came to visit us for throughout December and January holidays, and that was fun. It was fun having children running around the house for a while, because we don't have children, so kind of having that around us was also, it kind of gave us insight into what could be the reality and the stress. So that was quite special. But then since then, just as the year has gone by, we've just been just been living life. Oh, something that was pretty big was Lerato graduated. She finally finished her studies, and it was quite tough. I always say people don't see what's happening in the background. You know, they'll just see somebody graduating, and they're like, oh, that's so great. You know, well done, and all that. They don't know the nights. You know, the cries. You know, the staying up like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. trying to submit something, and you know, and you're tired, and you send it through to your professor, and the professor says, okay, change this, you know, change this altogether, and you have to go back and just redo the thing, and it feels like it's never ending. And so it was quite special for both of us, for me to see my wife come to that point where, you know, she felt like it was never coming to an end, and I just had to continue to say, you're gonna do it, you know, and then it actually happened. So that was quite special. And then yeah, and so obviously we celebrated. You know, my parents came over and were able to support her on a big day, and then a few days after that we went to Joburg to celebrate with her family in Joburg, and our friends, our mutual friends in Joburg, and that was quite special as well. I mean, it's something, you know, to just realize the people you have in your life and just how special they are. Again, I mean, I'm looking forward to your wedding because it's going to be a similar thing. It's like a reunion thing. But something crazy that happened on our way back. So we decided not to take flights or anything like that. We decided to drive to Joburg to save fuel, because we also had friends who were accompanying us. They had a temple trip, and so we just carpooled and had like a nice thing. But we were so fatigued from the road, you know, going to Joburg, not having sleep, having to do stuff because our schedule was packed tight. And when we came back, literally when we were about 5 hours from home, we got into a car accident.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man. So that was terrible. I don't like going into the details because it's very traumatic. But basically, the car was totaled, and yeah, it was a very, very traumatic experience, because in that moment you realize just how fragile life is and how it can be stopped and taken away at any moment. And obviously, genuinely, in that moment, as this was happening, it felt like it was the end. You know, it felt like, okay, definitely, this is how we live. And so, and when we didn't, when we survived, all of us, luckily, through the grace of God, we all survived. Nobody was seriously injured. When that happened, I was shocked. But the first instant, you know, as the car stops on its all fours, you jump out and you try to check, is anybody injured? Did anything terrible happen? And so when you find that nothing terrible has happened, you're calm, you know, and then you try to sort out the situation, try to make sure everybody's goes to the hospital and things like that. And so yeah, we've been just dealing with the aftermath of that now, you know, trying to fix insurance stuff, trying to make sure that the other couple that was with us, the other family, is okay as well. And so yeah, like I said, luckily we are all fine, but it's a very traumatic experience when something like that happens. And for us, I remember the week that happened and we got home. Again, going back to the people in your life, this was so special. We had people who were just constantly checking up on us to say, are you guys okay? Are you fine? You know, sending our love, sending our regards, you know, sending food and things like that. And that was pretty nice, you know, to just see, man, people in our lives are really, really cool. They're really amazing. And one of the most special people to us, to my wife and I, June, she said something so interesting. She said when she visited us, that in life you have many crossroads. You'll have many things that will be turning points, and this could be one of them. And indeed it was. That's what I've been thinking about ever since they visited. She and her son Jason. Jason was on our show in season 1. But she said, like when she said that, because I remember this was a turning point for us, where we started to consider, okay, are we doing with our lives what we want to do with it? You know, are we living right? Are we is everything in order? Is it something that we don't necessarily need? And we've kind of been operating from that perspective of saying, the things that we don't need in our lives, let's dispose of them, let's get rid of them, that are not as important. And the things that are more important, let's invest more time in them, things like family, things like just spending more time with people who are important in your life. So anyways, that's kind of been my perspective a lot, is just try to focus on what matters most and spend your time so that should that be your last day, you don't feel regretful, you don't feel like, man, I've wasted my life, or I've done, I could have done more with my life type thing. So anyways, that's the perspective that came with that as well, But I thought I thought it was beautiful coming from an event like a celebration. You're coming out of a celebration, you've just graduated, you feel like it's a new chapter, and then something like that happens, and it's really a new chapter in all forms, in all respects. So those are some of the things in summary that have happened. And then something else. Lastly, we also came recently out of a convention. I'm wearing this cool T-shirt, 2025, Cape Town, Gathering of Israel on both sides of the veil. We had a YSA conference in Cape Town that happened, and that was quite special. My wife and I were asked to be chaperones, so it's cool that we still get to be invited to young adult activities. But that was quite special, to meeting people again that you haven't seen in a while. Those are maybe just some of the updates on my end.
Nice, man. It's been a roller coaster of stuff in the last while. Holy smokes. I think the only thing I can think of that is how it's just everyone like goes through their own. You have no clue what's going on in somebody else's life, 100%. And the way my dad said it before is, or I don't know if my mom or dad, but like, you have no clue what's going on in someone else's car, right?
Yeah.
Now you can road rage as much as you want that this person cut you off and this has happened, whatever, but you have no clue what that person's going on in their lives.
Yeah.
Now it does not excuse them for doing stupid things, but at the end of the day, some people are just going through it. So we need to give them grace and ask for help or offer help wherever we can. And even when we're going through trials, ask for it. And I'm pretty sure we can be able to build a relationship based on asking for help, but just off of that. Relationships, that's how they're built anyways, naturally, So I think that's just awesome. I'm glad that you're okay, you're safe. We did graduate. We made it back for convention. We're doing good.
Yes.
It sounds like it.
We are healthy. God still has work for us to do. So our work is not finished. Jeremy and I, we did want to end this wonderful high season on a high note and on a spiritual note as well, because we're shooting this over Easter weekend. And so we also wanted to just touch on the things that are important to both of us. I mean, we are linked together through the church, through our missions. And so we are linked together through Christ. The reason you are in the States right now is because of him. You're in the Lord's University. The lady you're engaged to right now, you met her. Had it not been for the church, you were not going to meet. And so anyways, we are connected always, and our central point is the Savior, and by extension his church. We did want to end this season on a spiritual high of reflection. And as you were speaking, Jeremy, I thought about the fact that we have to be really intentional about our lives. You spoke about, for example, the high professionalism with things like LinkedIn, that side, and people are really like taking charge of their careers. And just the Spirit spoke to me as you were saying that, to say God really wants us to be in charge of our lives and to be intentional. I think sometimes we can very easily, due to many factors, depression, things not working out our way, fall in some sort of limbo, where we just kind of let life happen to us instead of us happening to life. But I think as agents and as children of God, he kind of wants us a little bit to be more architectural in what we do, be the ones to design our lives and occasionally readjust, occasionally maybe you make a decision and it's not the best one, you go back, you make a next one, but you're constantly moving forward, you're constantly trying to make things happen. And a big point for that for me, and I'm sure you'll share with you as well, but a big thing for me with that is considering your patriarchal blessing. Your patriarchal blessing is a roadmap. That's what God has inspired a very old man, a patriarch, to say to you about what you can expect in your future. And whenever you are confused about where to go, what to do, that document over there is usually a good starting point to say, okay, let me go back, what did God intend for me in my life? Had I not had a patriarchal blessing personally, I may not have gone on mission. Because even though I wanted to go on mission, it was so tough getting things in order that I was ready to give up, But the thing that made me persist was my patriarchal blessing spoke, you're going to go on mission. Same is true with school. There have been many times I've felt tempted to be like, no, this thing is not working out. But the patriarchal blessing says you're going to get degrees. And so you have to push through, Same is true for marriage, where you're like, maybe I want to get married later on in life, but then the patriarchal blessing guides you to say you're going to find your wife in this setting and things like that. And so that's been a really, really great guide for me in this decision-making environment that we speak of, in this trying to focus on the Savior, trying to let him take charge. And one last thing I have to say, I know I speak a lot, but the one last thing I have to say on this topic, I've been listening a lot to Elder Holland's devotional. I think it was given in the 1980s when he was still the president of BYU, titled The Will of the Father. I recommend that to anyone any day. The one thing that stands out to me in that devotional, Elder Holland says, you will learn in your life at one point or another that God is a jealous God and he will have no other gods before him, including yourself as a God. Sometimes we say, I'm going to make things happen by myself, I know everything, I'm the end all be all, like Samu said, and God will be like, oh, you want to be your own God? Okay, let's see how that works out, and you go through it, and you're going to go through it, but remember always to give him his throne and give him his space. Don't take that space by thinking that you know everything and you are in charge of everything. Allow him to still guide you in your life. Check in with him. When you make a decision, check in. God, is this decision I've made, is it a good one? Or the one that I'm about to make, is it a good decision? Constantly, and more often than not, he will affirm things that are righteous that we're doing. Because he also wants us to be agents unto ourselves. But you still have to give him his space to say, like the Savior, I do all those things that my Father wants me to do. What are your thoughts, big man?
And because I love what you're talking on about, because in a recent, I guess it's not that recent, it was a while ago. It was in the month of, I think, February or March, somewhere around there. Elder Bednar gave a devotional. I forgot which one it was. I think it was March. And Elder Bednar gave a devotional here at BYU, Idaho. And he said something very profound and controversial, which I was like, huh? And he said, there's no such thing as control. I might be phrasing this, but he said there's no such thing as control. I'm like, huh? And he's like, but if there is, why would you want it? I'm like, okay. He was going on to the point of, you don't need to be in control. God is in control. He knows what's going to happen. We know who's going to win the battle. We know how the end is going to be. We just need to fulfill our stewardships, our responsibilities. We just need to be good boys and girls, and the Lord is going to take care of everything else, right? It's kind of the similar thing that if you wanted to follow Satan, a similar thing is just do all the bad things, and whatever Satan has for you, that is what you will receive, you know?
Yeah.
Luckily, we have Jesus Christ who has died for that. So you won't even go to that extent unless you're really, 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 really bad, which is also really hard to do. But at the end of the day, you don't need to be in control. God is in control. And we just need to do good. And I think the one thing I love is it's your perspective or your goal. Where are you trying to go? If you're trying to go celestial, then you'll have to think celestial. You have to speak celestial. You have to live celestial. And we can't do that every day. Or let me not say we can't do that. We are commanded to, but the Lord knows that we are not able to or not gonna be able to. Therefore, He's put a man in front of us who has paid for all of those mistakes or sins that we will do in order for us to be able to shift back every time we divert and, you know, get further away. And that's the beauty of the atonement of Jesus Christ. God is in control. We get to live our lives, but we're surrounded by this love of the atonement that you get to do whatever within this bubble, my friend, and you will never, ever feel the consequences that Satan is feeling, because you are surrounded by God's love. You are surrounded by this atonement that has been performed for you, and you just have to, if you want to stay with God and live with Him, just be a good boy and girl, and the Lord has taken care of every single thing after that. Just go and do your best. And it's amazing. That's all I have to say.
Man, this has been a wonderful conversation. Jeremy, I'm looking forward to seeing what will happen with you as you're there and your caramel babies. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and also with our friends who watch the show, season 3 will also get interesting. So looking forward to that as well. So we're gonna wait a little bit before we post season 3, just to give space between the seasons, as we're preparing and things like that. But you guys also have a lot to look forward to. Do let us know what you've liked this season. Do let us know maybe some things that you'd like us to add, remove, guests you'd like to see, and we will try to see if we can make that happen as well. Continue to submit questions. We do get questions sometimes. We do get commentary both on our YouTube and on our other channels like our WhatsApp. We haven't gotten much correspondence on our email. The email is on the description, so you can also send through anything you wanna get through there. But we love you guys so very much. We just are energized by the fact that we know that these conversations touch someone out there. Even if it's one person, it's worth it. So yeah, we appreciate you. We're looking forward to the new season. Continue to subscribe, continue to like, continue to comment. Yeah, Jeremy?
Yep, that's a salute from me. Love you all, and we'll see you next time.
Generation, Father forgive them, but they don't know what they do. We making music, but they hating what we do. On a daily, that is what we're going through. Who would have thought that it's pretty like a spray gun? It's put the flows like the fake one, save one. Niggas jokes, Michael Blackson. After the door, we watch him fall, K-Cross. I can't stop, won't stop, till his feelings burn out.